Hey guys, it's Will. So BigBear AI has dipped down and had a nice recovery so far today. We had a really rocky but beautifully profitable start to the day. I know it's not always great when you see the markets dip down, but a lot of times that causes excitement. And one of the trades we've been making very often recently is trading the inverse of the market. So we traded SOXS, which goes up when the market corrects in the semiconductor market. So we ended up buying SOXS this morning. Let's see where we were at. We bought at 772 and we sold for $8.15 for what was about $1,000 profit there. Um, and then we also got calls on BigBear AI as of recently at an average purchase price of 50 cents per call for $7 calls expiring on the 14th, which is just after their earnings coming up on the 11th. Part of the reason why we got bullish calls for BigBear AI is number one, I would love to see this movement take place where we get that recovery up into this $8.60 range. Number two, there is also a sale happening for Stockmates where we go live every day. And if you want to grab access to Stockmate for our daily live trading, you can get potentially a full refund. There's about 12 hours remaining, or a little bit more, about 18 hours remaining on the sale. And basically, if BigBear AI hits what is $9 a share by August 11th, so on the earnings day after, like through that day, if it hits $9 a share, then you get Stockmate for free. You get a full refund. So how am I able to offer that? Well, definitely with the options. So far, we're up a little bit over $700 today on BBAI options. But also, again, we traded the inverse of the market. So today started off with an inverse day, and then we see it sell off. Why is BigBear one to watch right now? Well, they have financials that are starting to see revenue growth year over year. You see the revenue increasing year over year. Their net income was a bit negative, and they recently dipped a tad in revenue in their last quarter. And in that quarter said, hey, we're actually expecting this thing to do better, but we didn't have the money hit our bank account. But we have contracts that are in the pipeline that we should have been able to report, but we can't report the revenue. That's something, sometimes that's not, maybe it's just a small amount, but it sounded like it was kind of a big amount. In fact, there was about a $5 to $6 million difference really between that quarter and the last quarter. And they reduced their debts down there. So their assets look good. Liabilities are lower now. That looks pretty healthy. And we're looking for an increase in revenue. An increase in revenue on what? Well, they have a lot of interest from, institutional investors, more increased positions than decreased positions from BlackRock and Goldman Sachs. Why? Well, maybe it's their big brother, their big bear, but maybe it's their big brother type technology. They got the Biometrics VeriScan. I show it over and over again, I guess, but the main reason why is because it's their main go-to market. They have a little bit of space tech. They're working a little bit in AI LLM for construction. They also work with hospitals a little bit for automating some of the let's say figuring out matching the right doctors with the right patients, or knowing how many beds are open or what the schedules are looking like, and AI can do that so one person isn't constantly checking for the updates on those things. But really where they excel is their Department of Defense, Pentagon contracts, working with the Army and stuff with this travel and trade technology. Not only are they in TSA, but they're deploying directly to commercial airlines and ports of entry for this VeriScan. And part of the reason why that's powerful is they've had a recent surge in the deployment of these biometrics. So you see them into these airports: Los Angeles, JFK, Denver. Got it. One of the things we talked about yesterday, you also got Chicago there as well, and Montreal. One of the things we talked about yesterday was that they have a lot of data, and one of the things to consider is, are they going to go more commercial? And that's where we do see them go directly to airlines, not just the TSA, which is interesting. And then the other side of that is, what events are they preparing for? they're preparing for the World Cup. They had something come out recently where there was an article on their LinkedIn that said we are looking at the 2028 World Cup and the Olympics. And so, and I might have reversed the order there, but they're looking at those events. They also just signed a contract with DEFCON AI, with this reflects a strategic alignment of domain expertise and technology capabilities to deliver mission-focused solutions in core markets. This is focused on readiness analytics, logistics, and data integration. You might say, okay, a lot of data. Why? What's the point of AI and these biometrics? I mean, the TSA contracts that they're most likely going after now that could potentially harness a total value of about 5.5 billion, but possibly will be less if they just get a piece of it, is request for information here, TSA screening partnership program. They're working on doing biometrics, and words straight from the .gov article here saying reducing the total operating costs and workforce requirements, but also reducing reliance on manual labor for, having a TSA agent be like, where are you coming from? Where are you going? My wife's from Argentina. We've gone through all that stuff all the time. I understand it. We come in and out of the US when we travel internationally. And it is kind of like, they have to do that every time. Where are you going from? Where are you going? Whereas AI-driven analytics could go through a lot of that automatically and see the traveler history. And so this is AI and machine learning driven request is what they're looking for. Integration with TSA PreCheck, mobile apps, digital IDs, things like that. So why is that important? I mean, if that's the time, some people say, I don't believe in borders. Well, they are a very real thing, and they are something that allows the differentiation between different countries and whether or not you have freedom or not freedom. And while it might seem as like less freedom when you have more verification or these things, in that case, maybe going to a place where those things aren't a big part of what drives the whether you agree with the perspective of freedom or not, the infrastructure of how the U.S. sets it up would be, that would make sense for you to find a, place of residence that would be more aligned with your values. I believe that, when it comes to something that's valuable like the U.S., keeping things running and also creating value and safety for others, that it would make sense that they would become more digital. It's kind of like what they're already doing, just becoming more digital. And when it comes to companies and value, a lot of times digital always wins. I was talking with a Invisalign CEO, the CEO of Invisalign a while back. And one thing to note about, they haven't reported earnings in a while. I was looking if maybe Align Technology, that's the name of their company, Invisalign, was reporting earnings. But they were really innovative. They came to the market, like BigBear is coming to the market, and they're bringing biometrics, and they're pretty innovative in what they're doing. They have this scanning thing. Invisalign had this technology called the iTero, and it scans your mouth and then sends, the braces, the invisible braces. It was very revolutionary technology at the time. And I was talking with the CEO, actually. It was 2017, and I was doing some helping them actually with their marketing. It's really cool time actually. And I really hope to have similar stories, like talking with Vlad as we're working with Robinhood on some stuff right now. But basically, what he said was, take the refrigerator, for example. Back before the refrigerator, what did they have? Does anybody know what they had? They had an ice box. So with the ice box, you take your ice, you take your you go to the store, you get your ice, you put it in your ice box every single day. That's what you got to do. Or every other day or every few days, you got to make sure your food is cold. Now, when the refrigerator company came out, they didn't do anything to change what they were already doing. They said, my ice box, it works fine. It works good. I don't need a refrigerator, people would say. And so Joe, the CEO of Invisalign, said, so the refrigerator company gets really upset because what happens? They're creating this obviously better technology, It's a better refrigerator. It keeps your food cold, so you don't even have to worry about it. It's keeps an eye on the food for you. You're not worried about it, and yet people aren't switching from the refrigerator or from the icebox to the refrigerator. And so they couldn't figure out for years. They're trying to get it. The refrigerator company's like, what's going on? People are like, it's fine. I'll put my ice in a box. They didn't recognize it. As soon as the refrigerator company painted the refrigerator white to look like the icebox, everybody switched over to the refrigerator. So why is that? Well, I mean, how does that apply here? I think what we have here is, it's a technology. Some people embrace it, some people don't. It's like AI. But now, what happens with Google? They have Google. I search something on Google. Let's go do an example. I'll go to Google real quick. What happens when I search something on Google nowadays? Do you guys know what happens? I'll show you an example of how they're painting the icebox here. When I search for something on Google, let's just do BigBear AI stock. What's up? Okay, so it shows the stock here. Maybe I need to just do BigBear AI. What's up? Look at this. It's giving me the AI overview. Do you notice how this is starting to look kind of like ChatGPT? You just searched Google normally. Pretty soon they're going to put the Google search bar below here and the results above or the citing. But do you see how it looks like ChatGPT? It's the same thing, Google how it's always been, but now look, AI is giving you the answer. You're not going through all these articles. Is it considering all the articles? Yes. Maybe even one of our videos. Thank you guys for having us up there. I appreciate it. But again, they keep it the same, but they paint it different. And the same thing is happening with TSA, for example. It's really the innovation here is the biometrics, and what they're going to do is they could have a TSA agent sitting there and have the biometrics scanning you, which is already happening, and they're like, you're good to go. The TSA agent is just doing it less and less. It looks the same, but it's actually, they're building this huge infrastructure of AI and data around travel and trade. Pretty tremendous. So is it maybe a little bit scary? It can be at the beginning until things start to, become more normal, and most likely what felt really uncomfortable at this point, later you'll be like, oh, that's nothing compared to what we got going on now. That's usually how it goes, especially when you're like, let's say you're working on something. We're trading BigBear and we see this volatility, or even like the quantum market. When we see quantum, it's like, that's nothing compared to some of the insane volatility that we saw back here when things were like up and down, crazy, right? And then boom, spiking, and then selling off and everything else. So now we get into this, see up and down. We're like, okay, it's not as crazy now. When you've gone through 2008, when you've gone through the dot-com bubble, when you've gone through the 2020 crash during the C word, right? That was something that now, if you're looking at the market, like, it makes sense. Do you understand? But at the time, it's like so crazy. So just keep that in mind with BigBear. I think a lot of people are like really freaked out about like the tech, but I do think that when it comes to like what we're seeing, it's just going to be a value add, and most likely ahead of their earnings, they have earnings coming up. We would expect a little bit of a surprise there on the earnings. So could they sell off before the earnings? It's possible. If they rocket up before the earnings, like we're kind of playing right now with our options, as I mentioned, and also buying the stock, I don't know that it's really moved too much. Looks like we're, maybe like $25 since entry a few minutes ago on this trade that we're in. Then maybe on earnings, it's rocketed up before earnings so much that earnings come in and it pulls back even. That could be also the case. It's kind of like a rocket up before earnings and then it pulls back. But if the greater market corrects, as we've seen, it kind of continues to correct as it is right now, then it is possible we see maybe more of the same with the recent downtrend. Now, there's two things to consider. Yes, you have this trend right here. You got this trend happening. Sure, this is something right here. You got a trend. But really what we're looking at too is something greater. You got an overall consolidation. You also have what is this previous resistance up here to here, and this here, like this, like that. So it is a downtrend, yes. But what we could see is something like this. A recovery up into this level here, something like this, another 6% or so on the stock. And if it breaks out at any point, breaks out from the smaller trend or it breaks out from this trend, then seeing those levels up in that $8 range to $9 range makes a lot more sense on the near term. And so that's what we'll be watching there with Big Bear. One thing to note too on the financial side of things, while they are still, $1.8 billion market cap, they are also a little high compared to the revenue. We're kind of, I guess, speculating, saying, the revenue most likely is going to be up in this next earnings. If it's not, then absolutely we could see it, sell back down into that level around that $5 range, 100%. That could happen if they don't come in with the good earnings. So we're going to watch there. But as of right now, we're in a trade. We're kind of looking a little bit bullish. That's how it looks right now. We're kind of looking for this swing as it's kind of leading the market over here in AI today. And I hope you guys enjoyed. If I earned your thumbs up, smash the like button. If you want to join us in daily live trading sessions and also get targets for all the stocks that are reporting every week, along with at 6:30 a.m. getting a link for our live sessions and really good insights. You got Lawrence coming in with some great press releases here. We'll have to create another press release chat there, so it's not in the main chat, to keep things more organized. There's some really, really good insights from some members recently. I don't know if I could search. Does it let me search comments? That would be kind of cool. What happens if I search here? Oh, yeah, maybe. Let me try David. Can I search David here? Oh, cool. So David's comments, I wanted to share with you guys that David recently had a really nice month. He was able to double his account 100% here from 14,000 to 28,000. And he says he's working a job. He's working to quit his job at Amazon. And he just wanted to say thanks. And there's a lot of stories I've been getting like that lately. And the reason I share it with you is so that that's kind of the goal when you get into StockMate. If you're trying to grow your account, I would love to give you a call and give you some guidance if you ever are looking to learn the technicals, fundamentals, and invest in AI companies, quantum companies, space tech, or even a little bit of defense or nuclear, aviation tech. Then again, second link below to join StockMates. And with our current sale, you got that extra thing. If BigBear AI hits $9 by earnings time on that earnings day, then then you get StockMate for free. You get a full refund. Just keep that in mind. If I win, then you win big as well. Thanks so much again, and do consider subscribing. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.